If we gave birth to 23 kids at random, there's a 50.7% chance that 2 of them would share the same birthday. This is the birthday paradox, and this is the most dangerous paradox because misunderstanding it can literally lead to millions of deaths or a life filled with regret and unrealized potential. So we'll test it on the 23 children of the person who is living up to his full potential, the #1 most subscribed YouTuber on earth, Mr. Beast, after we prove it with math. Here's the question. In a group of n randomly selected people, what are the odds that 2 of them share the same birthday? Despite there being 365 possible birthdays, at 23 people it's probable, and at 57 people it's basically guaranteed. That sounds impossible, but it's because our brains are the worst at conceptualizing exponential growth. We can prove it with a standard deck of 52 cards. A deck of cards can be arranged in approximately 8 times 10 to the 67 power ways. Even if all 8 billion people on Earth shuffled a unique deck of cards every single second, it will take 320 quadrillion years to go through every single possible combination. That's 23 duodecillion times longer than the universe has existed. I'm sure we can agree that this sounds completely false. So yeah, our brains are terrible at understanding exponentials. And with this in mind, let's jump into the birthday paradox math. First, we assume no leap years, no twins, just a completely random group. So we could calculate the probability that any 2 people share a birthday by comparing every single pair in the group. So person 1 with 2, 3, 4 and everyone else, and then do this for everyone else in the group. So this is what it would look like if we actually tried comparing every single pair in the group. More or less, I lost track along the way, not gonna lie. But we won't be doing this because we're not insane. That would be 253 comparisons at just 23 people. Instead, let's flip George Washington. A coin flip only has 2 outcomes, heads or tails. Both cannot happen at the same time, and one of them must happen. It's a mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive event. So the probability of heads plus the probability of tails equals 100%, or 1. So the same logic applies to the birthday paradox. Either no one shares a birthday, or at least 2 people do. So instead of calculating the probability that at least 2 people do share a birthday, we flip it. What's the chance that no one shares a birthday? Then we can manipulate this equation into solving for the probability that at least 2 people do share a birthday. This will be way easier to calculate. But what won't be easy is understanding how Kai Cenat and Kim Jong-un are connected. Stick around to find out, and like and subscribe while you're at it. Imagine each person picks a unique birthday. Person 1 gets 365 out of 365 choices. Person 2 gets 364 out of 365 choices. To avoid person 1's birthday, person 3 gets 363 out of 365 choices, and so on. And we'll do this until we reach 23 people, or whatever n group you're comparing. So multiply all, and this equals 0.493, or a 49.3% chance that no one shares a birthday. So the probability that at least 2 people do share a birthday is 1 minus 0.493, which equals 0.507, or a 50.7% chance. Now that we proved it with math, let's test it on the real world on Mr. Beast before we see the devastating impacts misunderstanding the birthday paradox has on your life. I checked 23 of his kids, which sounds wrong. So I checked 23 of his YouTube video birthdays or post dates. And per the math, it should be probable that at least 2 of these share the same birthday. And fun fact, the birthday paradox applies to anything with dates in the year, even death dates. So in a group of 23 people, it's likely that 2 of you will die on the same day. Anyways, I clicked, I scrolled, I scoured, and I was losing hope. Because there was no matches whatsoever and time was running out. We were almost at the final video. And on the 23rd final video, we got a match! Coincidence? I think not. This is exponential probability. The birthday paradox is a special type of paradox, a veridical paradox. Something that sounds so absurdly false, but is in fact true. So if it still feels counterintuitive, don't worry. Scratch that, you should worry. The consequences of misunderstanding it can be deadly. Like millions dead. Deadly. It's happened multiple times throughout history. including just a few years ago. So stick with me. To understand the potential catastrophe, let's grab a chessboard. Grab 1 penny and put it on the first square. Then double it on each square after. I stopped at 16 pennies because it started getting difficult afterwards, but you can keep going if you wanted to, I guess. Take a guess. How tall would the final stack of pennies be? As tall as a car? A house? The tallest building on Earth? Or even the size of Earth itself? For reference, it will take the entire first row of pennies just to reach a puny iPhone. The final stack would be so tall it would almost reach the nearest star system, Alpha Centauri. That's 3.6 light years tall, 20 trillion miles, 184 quadrillion dollars, all from doubling pennies on a chessboard. But now swap the pennies with people and infect them with a contagious disease instead. When COVID-19 first hit, the sitting president said, "We have it totally under control. It's one person coming in from China. It's going to be just fine." Yeah, just one. But what if that one person infects 3 other people every 3 days? That was roughly COVID-19's reproduction rate early on. We can model the spread by using the population growth formula. So on day 0, you'd have 1 case. Day 3, 3 cases. Day 6, 9 cases. And on day 30, over 60,000 cases. And the real data agrees. On March 1, 2020, New York City had 1 confirmed case. By March 31, 41,000 cases. And that's just the confirmed cases. There was probably far more. Isn't it mind-blowing how one person, one flight can spark a national disaster? It sounds absurdly false, but it's true. And that brings us to our final veridical paradox. You and everyone else on Earth is more connected than you can possibly imagine. According to the 6 degrees of separation, you can be socially connected to anyone else on Earth in just 6 people. So you could connect Kai Cenat and Kim Jong-un in just 6 people. It's easier to connect famous people to anyone, but this still applies to everyone. And here's the twist. Those threads don't just carry sickness, they carry hope. Because if we are so connected across the world, that means you matter more than you can possibly fathom. And your actions have the potential to change more lives than you can ever think possible. So one small act of kindness, one choice to do the right thing, one idea that you keep putting off can impact the world in ways you can't possibly imagine. It sounds absurdly false, but it's true. Thanks for joining this quest.